Today's video is going to teach you or show you how to calculate the surface area of a cylinder. So the first thing we're going to look at is the actual cylinder as well as the formulas required for you to be able to do this. So in order to calculate surface area, we need a formula. So the formula for surface area is surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h, and the r stands for radius and the h stands for height, which are two of the numbers that will be given to you. Now, in order to understand a formula, you need to know where it came from. So where does this part of the formula come from? This part of the formula comes from the actual two circles right here, this circle as well as the bottom circle that make up the cylinder. And the reason, again, so the formula for a circle would be, and again I'm just going to write it out here, so the formula of a circle, the area of a circle would be area equals pi times r squared, which is the same as what we have here. Now the only difference between this part of the formula and this is that this has a 2, and the reason it has a 2 is that a cylinder has a circle at the top as well as a circle at the bottom. The second part of this formula, which is right over here, this comes from calculating the curved part, so this curved component right here, the curved surface area. So the formula for curved surface area, so if you're looking at surface area of a curve, it would be 2 pi r, or radius and height, and so that's where that comes from. So what I want you to do is I want you to copy down the formula as well as understand where the formula comes from. So I'm going to do an example with you. Here is an image of a cylinder, and the measurements are given to you. So if you look here, this is the 2.5 centimeters is the radius of the circle, and the 7 indicates the height. So the first thing you should do is write down what you know, and this is always very important when we're looking at it. So we're going to write down radius equals 2.5 centimeters, and remember radius is always written with a lowercase r. We never use a capital R. The next thing that's given to us is the height. So again, height lowercase h for height. Height equals 7 centimeters. So I wrote down what I know. I want to calculate the surface area, so what I'm also going to do right now is I'm going to write down my formula for surface area, which we just saw on the previous screen. So surface area equals, and you got to think of the two circles first. So there's two circles. The area of the two circles would be pi r squared, and then we're adding to that the area of the curved cylinder, and the formula for the area of the curved cylinder is 2 pi r radius and height. So I've written down my formula. My very next step is I'm going to start filling in the formula as I go along, and as I talked about in class today, we always put the equal sign first and then we work in to fill in what we know. So we know it's 2 multiplied by pi, which is we know is a universal number of 3.14, multiplied by the radius, and in this case the radius is 2.5, and it is to the exponent of 2, and then we're adding to that 2, and then again pi, which is 3.14, and I don't think I'm going to run out of space here a little bit. I'm going to try to fit it in as best I can, multiplied by my height, which is, and I can squish it in 7. So there you go. All my numbers are written out. My very next step is now I'm going to show you to calculate each step as we go along. We're going to start calculating our answer at this point. So again, what the first thing you need to do is solve for the exponent. So we're going to leave the rest of the equation exactly how it was. We haven't changed anything. We're going to go ahead and take the 2.5 and square it. So 2.5 times 2.2, and when we do 2.5 times 2.2, we end up with 6.25. And you see I put in a different color, it's just so that you know that's the only thing we changed so far, and the rest of the equation remains exactly the same because I haven't changed it, nor have you. So we're going to leave it the way that it is. We have not changed anything. So then we're going to continue to move on, and what we're going to do now is we're going to calculate this side and we're going to calculate this side. So you're going to punch all these numbers into your calculator, or you can do it mentally, and we're going to just simply add them up. So when I multiply 2 times 3.14 times 6.25, I ended up with 39.25. And then I'm going to leave my addition sign the same. I haven't changed it. Again, the stuff I'm not changing, I'm leaving in the color. And then we're going to go ahead and calculate this side. So when I do 2 times 3.14 times 2.5 times 7, I end up with 109.9. And then I'm going to do my next step. And again, the equal sign goes in. And again, it's working vertically in a very organized manner so I can see everything that I'm doing. And I go ahead and I add these two numbers up. So I'm going to take these two and add them up. And when I add them up, I end up with, and I'm going to put this in a different color here, I ended up in 149.15. And then I'm going back and seeing what my units of measurement were, because if I leave it like this is not a complete answer. My unit of measurement was centimeters, and again, you look at there, and it is centimeters, so I'm going to jot down centimeters. But it's not just centimeters. We're not looking at just the area. We're looking at the surface area, and the surface area would be, and I've talked about this in class, and I'm going to mention it again, when we look at area, it is two-dimensional, so we're adding a we're adding a 2. So it is squared because we're looking at a two-dimensional shape. So that is my final answer for surface area. So here's your question now. So you're going to try this one on your own. So I've given you a cylinder with a radius of 4 centimeters and a height of 10 centimeters. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to pause your video. You're going to follow the exact same steps that I've done on the previous one where you're going to solve it. So go ahead and pause it. Now welcome back, and what you're going to do now is you're going to check your work with the work that I do. So the first thing I've asked you to do on the previous video is write down what you know. So I know that my radius is equal to 4 centimeters. So that's the first thing I'm going to write down. The second thing is given to me is the height, and the height is 10 centimeters. Now I also know the formula, so I'm going to quickly jot the formula down. Surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi radius and height. So I've written down my formula. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug in the information into the formula as it's given to me. So again, equals 2 times 3.14 times 4 squared plus 2 times 3.14, and I'm going to run out of space again, 4 times 10 to squeeze it in there. Okay, and like we did in the previous video, you're going to do step by step, filling in only things that we know. So again, we're keeping the 2 the same, the 3.14 the same, and we're only changing the 4, and so we know 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 is 16, and I'm going to add that in. And then the rest of it is the same. So we're going to write that right in there. And I'm going to squeeze it in, and I know it doesn't look too good there, but I'm going to squeeze it in. The next part is we're going to actually start calculating each of the sides. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and complete my math here. So I go ahead and I multiply all of these numbers, leave the addition sign the way it is, and then multiply all these numbers. And I'm going to go ahead and jot it down. So I have on this side 100.48. And then we're going to add that, and when you multiply 2 times 3.14 times 4 times 10, I get 251.2. And now our last step here is to add those numbers up, and I end up with 351.68. And then I go back and I say, what are my units of measurement? My units of measurement, I take a look right here, and you see they're centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and write centimeters, and we're also looking at surface area, and as I mentioned before, surface area is two-dimensional, so we put a 2, so it is squared, so it's centimeters squared because it's two-dimensional shape. Now the last thing I want you to try is I'm going to leave you with a question. Here is a cylinder. I've given you the radius as well as the height. I want you to go ahead and solve the surface area and bring that into class with you tomorrow. Now if you need to, rewind the video, watch it again, and good luck!